Hello, hoping you all to be fine. Now, my name is Syed Sabi Ahmed, and today I'm going to discuss with you about sociology of O levels, that is 2251 CIE. Now, in today's presentation, I'm going to discuss about the paper pattern of O level sociology, the changes in marks of questions from the older one and the newer one. Then I'm going to discuss about how to attempt 14 marker question in sociology O levels, and then the tips to prepare for examination. If anyone, from any nook of the world, from any corner of the world, want to have my assistance on O or A-level sociology, they can freely contact me 24/7 on my WhatsApp, and my WhatsApp number is 00923350380897. Now, paper pattern of CIE, right? So in sociology, in O-level sociology, you have to attempt in two papers, paper one and paper two. Both the paper is of 80 marks, right? So are of 80 marks each. So it means that total is 160 marks paper, including both of them. When you are going to prepare for paper one is almost of 2 hours, and it is of 80 marks. Paper two is also of 80 marks. For paper one, you have to prepare three chapters. Chapter one, that is research method. Chapter two, self-identity and social control. And chapter three, stratification and social inequality. So first, second, and third chapter, you are going to study to appear in paper one. The question in paper one comes from these three chapters, right? Section A, question number one of paper one, is always from research method, and it is mandatory, compulsory to attempt. Question number two, section B, question number two, is always from second unit, that is self-identity and social control. Now, apart from that, section C, question number three of paper one, comes from stratification and social inequality that I told you. So, question number one is compulsory. Regarding question number two and question number three in paper one, you have to attempt one question out of that, out of the given choice of two. In paper two, for paper two, you have to prepare again for three chapters, and that is unit 4 family, unit 5 education, and unit 6 crime, deviance, and social control. Now, out of these three questions, now section A of paper 2, question number 1 comes from family. Section B, question number 2 of paper 2 comes from education. Section C, question number 3 of paper 2 comes from crime, deviance, and social control. Now, one question from one chapter. And you have to answer two questions out of three, and each question carries 40 marks. So 80 marks for paper 1 and 80 marks for paper 2. I hope you got it clear. Now, how this sociology is going to benefit the student fraternity. How you can get benefited by studying sociology, right? So let's see one by one. Now, so we do not know everything about the world, what is happening around us in different part and different corner of the world, of the globe. So sociology is there as a subject through which we can see the world which we have not revealed so far, a world which is far beyond us, the world which we have never imagined in our imagination, right? So from studying sociology, you can come to know about that world, that society, that place. There are a lot many places in the world. There are a lot many tribes in the world whose culture, whose norms, and whose values are entirely different than those of the common societies of the world, you know. So secondly, sociology is an instrument, and that instrument is used to get rid of narcissism. Narcissism means self-love. When you refrain from self-loving, loving yourself, and from individualism, then you will come to know the experiences of other people. Then you will come to know the problem, the social problem we face by other people, and you will like to feel as someone like in someone else's shoes. Okay, so, sociology can help you to think about others, to feel the pain of others, to feel the desperation of others, you know, and to get rid of narcissism, that is self-loving, and individualism, right? Okay. Now, you know, by studying sociology, it actually helps us to consider our obligation, our duty for social solidarity and integrity, right? When you will study sociology, you will come to know that human civilization, a human being, when when are in adherence with each other, in coherence with each other, there is a consensus and they help each other at the time of needs. So sociology makes you realize about your obligation to work for social solidarity and integration, you know. Now, sociology, it is said that sociology is a mirror in which we can experience, we can see the inner working of the society, which is apparently not visible to our eyes. You know, our social institutions like family, like school, college, universities, like peers, like classmates, like what do you call it, government, like religious institutions, okay, like workplace. These are all different social institutions, social elements, you can say. So, how the social institutions work together in coherence, in coordination to make this world a better place to live in for human species, you know. And it also make us see and learn about our relationship with other people in different given circumstances and roles, you know. Now, by studying sociology, you will come to see the world in a very new way, from a very new dimension, you know. You will see ourselves in a very new dimension, I mean, to say it, that the world you're going to explore, which we have never explored before. So, sociology is going to make you know all the hidden facts of the social problems, of the people around us, their pain, what is happening in different parts of the world, in different societies, about the norms, about the cultures, about the tradition, about the customs, right? So it helps you in exploring the new world for you. Now, it develops in us creativity and critical thinking. It helps us deepen our curiosity and to know what does mean to be human and social being. So, sociology is a subject through which you can enhance your creativity and critical thinking abilities, right? Sociology provides a framework of deep understanding that sometimes it seems to be a private problem. For example, take domestic violence, husband beating wife, shouting at the kids. Sometimes it is considered by the society as it is a private act, it is something private, personal of the family, so we should not need to intrude in it. Let it do what they are doing it because it is the family matters and we cannot intrude or interfere in the privacy. But no, Sociology actually tells us it is no more a private or a personal, problems or troubles or conflict. It is a public issue at large and of the social structure. In rural areas of developing countries or underdeveloped countries, or even for those in a developed countries, you will see that they are more loving, they are more conservative, and they I mean the men over there got a traditional role, right? And they actually do not play the role of a new man, and they dominate the family, and it is purely a dictatorship of a head of the family rather than a democracy in the family. So, you know, we can come to know about it. We can come to know about different society social structure and how that social structure of the society is shaping, the behavior, the personality of an individual in that society, right? Coming here, I'm going to discuss it how you are going to attempt 14 marks question, 14 marks question in what do you call it in sociology, right? Now, when we are going to there different types of long essay questions. Number one, question that asks you to evaluate a claim, questions that ask you to evaluate theory, questions that ask you to evaluate sociological explanation. Now, you need to evaluate the claim made by different sociologists. You need to evaluate about different sociological theories, and you need to evaluate the sociological explanation. Now, the command words for a long essay question like 14 marker generally used to be evaluate, assess, discuss to what extent. Assess or to discuss to what extent. Now, C, question that asks you to evaluate a claim. Okay. Now, your answer, pertaining to this part that there is a question been asked, and they ask you to evaluate a claim which has been claimed by different social activists of different societies. So how you're going to formulate the answer for that? So your answer should be divided into 4 paragraphs. Four, I won't say 4 paragraphs, I will say 4 sections. The first section, introduction. The second section is argument and evidence in support of the claim. That can be in 2 or 3 paragraphs, depending on the point you're going to add on in your answer. Then, arguments and evidence against the claim. Again, you can write 2 or 3 paragraphs for argument and evidence against the claim, depending on the point you're going to discuss, or depending on the number of points you've been asked to describe. Okay. Now, then it is not calculation, it is basically conclusion. In the end, you are going to do conclusion. Okay. Now, part one, introduction. How you can write a good introduction. The good introduction should have identity, the subject of the essay, and define key terms. You have to identify the subject of the essay, what the question is asking, and you have to define key terms pertaining to the question asked. Then you should highlight any major debate that lie behind the questions. Whatever the question is asked. If suppose the question is asked between positivism and interpretivism, so the debate between positivism perspective and interpretivism or interactionist perspective, what is behind the debate, you need to highlight that in your answers. Now then, signpost the essay's key arguments. Now what is signpost? I'll tell you later on as well, but signpost is the phrase, the examples, the explanation which you use to justify or to evaluate the claim. Now, you make a bold, clear start. Acknowledge that you have read, understood, and are going to respond to the set and highlight a key debate if there is one. So you make a bold start. Make the examiner realize that you read the question properly, you understood what the examiner wanted to ask, and you responded accordingly. And you actually highlighted. You should highlight the key points, the key debate points, if there is any in there. Now, sample introduction paragraph. Over here, I'm going to tell you about how to write, a very good introductory paragraph. Let's see. Now, one set of example is that a popular debate in sociology concerns dash the idea that dash whilst claim dash the viewpoint is hotly disputed by a range of writers who instead suggest that dash. So you can fill in the gaps and you can start this paragraph. You know how attractive it is. It will attract the attention of the examiner. It will attract the checker's attention, and they will definitely know that you got the ability, the talent of writing, and you understood the things. Now, another example of introductory paragraph is sociologists have long been divided on the issue of dash. By dash, we mean that dash, for example, dash, you have found evidence to support dash, but this evidence is questionable because that. So you can put it. I'm going to take an example of interpretivism and positivism, so you can fill in the gaps. You can take an example of functionalist perspective of consensus and Marxist perspective of conflict, and you can take into example the debates between Max Weber and Karl Marx, because Karl Marx says that there are only two social classes, that is the bourgeoisie and proletariats. But Max Weber is of the opinion that there are three or more social classes, and that is the bourgeoisie, the middle class, the proletariats, and the underclass. So you can give evidence to that to support it, right? Now, another example of a good introductory paragraph is sociologists would support the view dash to a certain extent, but evidence is far from conclusive because you're going to add on to it. Okay. Now, introduction. The question, suppose the question been asked, and what is the question asked? Evaluate the view that aid cannot solve the problems of the developing world. It is a generally concept that by providing aid to the developing country, the problems of the developing or underdeveloping countries will get resolved. This is not the resolve. Okay, let's see how you're going to write your first paragraph. In lieu of this question, see, a popular debate within the world of sociology concerns the efficacy of aid to developing countries, whereas some sociologists argue that aid is needed to help break the cycle of poverty in developing countries. This view is disputed by those who contend that aid reinforces the main barriers to development, such as corruption and economic mismanagement. Yes, you can evaluate that, you can explain that, because in the developing country, when the developed country provide aid, due to poverty, greed, they can you will face corruption over there, and definitely when the money is coming or flowing in without you hard working as a welfare, so the economy will definitely be mismanaged. Okay, now you can see, you can write. Now to maximize the chance of getting good grade, you should use the favor and against arguments based on Peel approach. P-E-E-L. Now, what Peel is, let me discuss it. Now, P in appeal, it stands for point per paragraph, per para. In one para, you need to elaborate one point only, right? That is one. That is a P of P. Then E, the first E means that you need to explain and evaluate the point which you have written the paragraph. And the second E means evaluation. Explain an evidence in the second one, then evaluation. And the fourth one is link to question. All the points, all the paragraph which you are writing it down in your answer, all the explanation and evidences or evaluation which you are giving should link to the question been asked, right? So let's see, writing powerful paragraph piece. Okay. Now you can see it's effective. Why? When it is effective? When you actually plan your key points before formulating the answer, right? And in each case, as for example, P, right? Make one per paragraph, one key point, 1 point per one paragraph. In one paragraph, you are going to discuss one particular point, okay? That is the P. Then it comes, and you should combine what do you call it, relative responses to the chosen essay questions. You can only write persuasive essay if you identify a relevant point and develop it fully. Before you start a paragraph, be absolutely clear what point you are making and why it is relevant to the questions, then off you go. So before formulating your answer, make very much clear yourself. There shouldn't be any ambiguity, there shouldn't be any dubiosity. Everything should be clear, and it should be in your mind that whatever you are going to write it down as an answer of the question is relevant to the question, and after that making it sure you're going to proceed for writing the answer of the question. Okay. Now then, evaluate the view that aid cannot solve the problems of the developing world. Now you have given the first point, you have taken it. Now you need to explain the first point with the evidence, and then you need to evaluate. So let's see the example paragraph. Okay. It leads to poor governance. First point, you should write paragraph, first paragraph for it leads to poor governance. You are going to explain this in your words, and you are going to give evidence to support your explanation, and then you are going to evaluate this. Then another point can be pertaining to this question: the potential of aid is negated by corruption. Corruption is there, especially in the third world countries, because due to poverty, due to illiteracy, but there are many reasons for it, right? So this corruption actually in the developing country will negate the aid. It will negate that aid provided by the developed country will help to get rid from the poverty trap and prosper, right? Third point you can include, so it leads to economic mismanagement. I told you about that. So, so the 3 points mean this 3 paragraph, and in every paragraph, you should highlight 1 point, 1 argument, and you should explain it, give evidence to it, and then you should evaluate it, and all those points should be related to the question been asked. Now, the fourth point can be it tells richer countries more than poor countries. Because when richer countries are giving aid, grant to the poor country, so they dominate them. They make them work on the terms, and the poor countries become their bounded slaves. I hope you understood that. Now, writing so In P, you have to write it down. You know, first you have to explain an evidence, right? Explain your reasoning, perhaps by applying a relevant theory. This is the basis of your analysis. Try to do this by using a stepping stone approach, means point wise. First point, second point, third point, right? Imagining the examiner is little tired to or slow, explain him her, right? Then back your point with evidence. You should explain and then you should give an evidence to that. I mean, pertaining to the questions you can give a lot of example of a lot of different countries, because when they get aid from the developed countries, they become dependent on them and they do not try to work hard. Now then you are going to evaluate your point. So evaluation should be there till the end of the essay, right? Evaluate each paragraph point, right? And then you can end by evaluating the last paragraph as well. You can write it, however, this would depends on that. How important is the point you have made to your overall arguments? Really important, then say so, not convinced, and explain your reservation. Right? Now, evaluation. You can evaluate the evidence of the argument by simply setting a criteria of validity, reliability, representativeness, right? Validity means that the research finding is correct, natural, and true. Reliability means that research can be repeated time and time again, and every time the results will be same. Representativeness means that the finding of the research should be applicable to all the population of the world, to all the genders, to all the age people, right? To every people belongs to different tribes. Then they should be coherent in each one of them, right? And signposting is word and phrases that can be useful in evaluation. Okay, so those giving a critical edge, they suggest weaknesses, criticism, or alternative to claim being tested. Okay, now see, here it is, linked to question. And finally, every paragraph and your conclusion should all be linked together with each other, and in totality, that all should be linked with the question being asked, right? And then you can see example of good practice. Finally, those arguing from a counter-industrialist perspective argue that aid can help encourage development. Counter-industrial theory argues against the idea of industrialization and instead focuses on sustainable, people-centered development. This encourages the use of intermediate technologies to help development in the local communities. For example, solar-powered lamps provided by organizations such as Practical Actions, which are cheap, renewable, and low tech. This allows the skill to be taught and passed on, allowing people to develop local communities. So the argument is counter industrial perspective, right? They actually encourage to for development, that the nation should develop themselves rather than we should provide some aid, help them out how they can prosper, they can groom up, but not by providing any financial such aid. Now, link phrases, you can use it, right? The link phrases can be, however, the linking device, however, not only, whereas, nevertheless, on the other hand, conversely, these are the words, the linking phrases, which you can use in your answers to have a good impact on the exam. Now, this is conclusion. Now, the same question is, and now we are going to, this is an example of conclusion. The answer have examined the extent to which aid can help the developing countries overcome the barriers to development. From the argument have discussed, we can draw that conclusion that rather than is speculating on a grand scale about whether aid is good or bad, it is more useful to evaluate whether particular instances of aid did some good or not. Therefore, I can conclude, I mean, don't write I, therefore, can conclude by saying that it's helpful to think in terms of concrete problems which can have specific answers rather than aid in general. So now you can see example assess the view, you access the view, right? Now coming to the comparison in marks differences between in the new according to the new syllabus and according to the old syllabus. Now see paper 1 question number 1. Section A of paper 1 question 1 comes from research method, and it is compulsory to attempt, right? You cannot leave it. So now according to the new syllabus, uh, question number 1 A1 is of 2 marks, question number A2 of 4 marks, question number A3 is of 6 marks, question number 1B is 2 marks, and question number 1C is of 4 marks. Now question number 1D is of 10 marks, 2 and 2 arguments for and against, and a conclusion. It is given instruction is given in question 1D, right? Question number 1E is 12 marks. Now, in question 1, there is no 14 marker question. No 14 marker questions come from research method according to the new syllabus. It will be of 12 marker, and it will basically be you have to give 2 primary methods with relevant samples, 1 source of secondary evidence according to the case been given. And the total marks of question number 1 is 40, right? Now, before the syllabus till 2020, you can say 5 or 2024, I mean, sorry, 2024, the marks distribution of question number 1 of paper 1 was question 1A, 2 marks, question 1B, 2 marks, question 1C, 4 marks, question 1D, 4 marks, question 1E, 8 marks, question 1F, 10 marks, question 1G, 15 marks, and it was total 45 mark question number 1 of paper 1, the compulsory one from research method. But according to the new syllabus, it is not 40 mark question. I hope you got it. Now coming to mark distribution of question number 2 of paper 1, and that is from self identity and social control, unit 2. So question number 1 of paper 2, right? Question number 1 of paper 2, sorry, paper 2, paper 1, question number 2 of paper 1, right? Okay, question 2A is 2 marker, question 2A1, question 2A2 is 2 marker, question 2 question 1B, question 2B is of 6 marker, question 2C is of 6 marks, sorry, and question 2D is 6 marker, question 2E is of 8 marker, 3 valid points with evidence. Question now the question F is of 14 marker, 3 against and 3, 4 arguments and a conclusion, 40 marks. Earlier on, question 2 marks was distributed. Question 1A, 2 marks. Sorry, question 2A, 2 marks. Question 2B, 4 marks. Question 2C, 6 marks. Question 2D, 8 marks. And question 2E, 15 marks, 35 marks. Now it is of 40 marks. So 40 means, each question is of 40 marks. So 80 marks for paper 1 and 80 marks for paper. Now, how you're going to prepare for examination? Let's discuss that. Read the chapter first thoroughly, and then make a valid pointer to it. Try to visualize the practical scenario of the topic. When you are reading it, when you are making the pointer, think in your mind, imagine, right, that in practically how this thing is happening around, right? And you should do according to experience because it is the reality, the facts. Then you are going to note down the name of sociologists who actually wrote something about the topic, and if it is necessary and if it is there, then go through the lecturer's pointer, then go through the chapter again in detail after making the pointers and short notes and learn it properly. Give a break of some days or hours, then start second chapter and follow the same procedure. After that, start solving the past paper. For solving the past paper, what you are going to do, you should read the question thoroughly, that is twice or more, to understand clearly what is being asked. Go through the marking scheme and note the pointer and instruction clearly over there. Go through the examiner report related to that question and see what need to be written and what mistakes the student did in the past while answering that particular question. And according to the marking scheme and keeping in mind the examiner's report, formulate your points and then answer. There should be fluency in your answer, proper English, though simply, use jargon when necessary, right? Now, see, if there is any ambiguity in understanding it, and if any kind of assistance you need, I am always there available 24/7. You can contact me. And my WhatsApp number is already given the first in the beginning, on the commencement. So you, okay, now here it is. Formulate your answer accordingly, right? You know what is AO, assessment objective. Assessment objective means that whatever the examiner want to assess in your answer. Now the assessment objective one is knowledge and understanding. I mean, from your answer, the examiner will want to see whether you got the knowledge or understanding of the topic been asked. That means you should demonstrate a knowledge and understanding of the sociological concept, theory, evidence, views, and research methods. That is your assessment objective one. Assessment objective two, what the examiner want to assess in your answer is interpretation and application. That is, apply relevant sociological concept, theories, views, evidence, and research methods to support points or develop arguments. Then there is assessment objective AO3, analysis and evaluation. Analyze and evaluate the sociological concept, theories, views, evidence, and research methods, explain the strengths and limitations of sociological concept, theories, and research methods, construct, develop, and discuss sociological argument. I hope that I made myself very much clear in explaining you, giving you the tips, the paper pattern, how to prepare in 14 marker, 10, 14 marker question, 12 marker question, so that you can basically have a good marks, good grade in your sociology paper of O levels.